Hello, I'm Mitra Sorrells, and I'm in the PhocusWire studio here at Focusrite Europe. And today I'm joined by Filip Filipov. He is the Vice President of Product Management at Skyscanner. And Filip just came off the stage, gave a presentation titled Asia is Eating the World, and it was 60 slides in 600 seconds. That was impressive.
That's right. Yeah, thank you.
So I wondered if we could try to do 60 questions in 600 seconds, but that might be pushing it.
Well, we can give it a shot, yeah, but it will be hard.
So one of the first things that occurred to me as I was listening to you talk is clearly your speaking on that topic is directly tied to the fact that Ctrip purchased Skyscanner in November of 2016, correct?
I think it could be said that it is tied to the fact, but the fact is really Asia has been expanding for quite a while. We're incredibly happy to have been purchased by Ctrip. Great fit in terms of how we think about the world of travel. So yes, there is an overlap in that. But if you take a look at some of the questions we discussed in my presentation, and I assume it will be online, it's all about the ecosystem that is Asia is leading now, and then the West is a little bit following in terms of innovation, in terms of investments, product thinking, expansion, like getting to the latest technology. So it's impressive, and we're happy to be a part of that journey.
Yeah, so talk to me a little bit about, what opportunities does this create for Skyscanner to have this relationship?
It's great for us. We have historically been able to connect to a lot of suppliers globally, about 2,000, and now you have a partner that can help us really do innovative stuff in terms of the way we approach, for example, direct booking on our site, and we create a more immersive experience with our customers and users. So it's been really good in terms of product development. Also, it's been great because they're an agency and we are a Meta, and understanding a little bit more closely how an agency operates informs us to create better products for our other agency partners. So it's been very educational, if you will.
So I'm curious, what have you learned there then about the role of the agency?
The role of the agency, it's a tough one, to be fair. There is a lot of mechanics that people don't appreciate. For example, customer service, bookings, payments, fraud, which is all related. If you operate purely in a meta environment, you send somebody to somebody else's site and you say, okay, let's hope that the customer will convert and they'll purchase a ticket. If you take a look behind the interface of that, there's so many people who are taking care of the entire journey and they stay with it after that. So historically, we've been probably thinking a little bit more about the top funnel. How do you get the customer, give them enough choice, and then you send them to a partner that you respect. But I don't think we've appreciated at that point enough how hard it is to be an agency in today's world. And now we know a little bit better, I think, and that helps us, as I said, with other partners as well.
So some of those statistics that you shared in your presentation were really, kind of mind-blowing. And as you mentioned, I encourage everyone to watch the full presentation that's available on the site. What does this rapid pace of development in Asia potentially mean?
It's leading the way. I think it's the theme of the morning session here at Focusrite as well, that the rate of iteration in Asia is a lot faster than what we've seen in Europe and the United States. And that means that we can get products out to the customers a lot faster. They can get adopted by the customer, and there will be a totally new experience, which puts everyone in the industry on the defense a little bit, because we know that if we don't move fast enough to meet the demands of travel, somebody else will, and most likely that player will be from Asia.
What about, one of the things that we heard referenced a bit this morning is the potential role of some of the outsiders coming in, the Amazon or Facebook, Google, that sort of thing.
Yeah, Google and Facebook haven't been successful in China for a number of different reasons. China has their own social networks. And if you take a look at Indonesia and India, as you mentioned, and Amazon trying to get a hold of that, it requires a lot of investment. I don't think all of the time you can translate the global model into a local market, particularly in a market that is in the emerging category. So in Silicon Valley, you can have payments with a phone, that's great, but you don't have that in India necessarily. So it's a different model of operation. If you take a look at Flipkart, which was locally born company, out of Amazon alumni, by the way, just got acquired by Walmart, it gives you a sign that you probably need the local expertise really ingrained in the company instead of just trying to, here's a bunch of cash, let's see what we can do in that market. So I think probably foreign companies will need to reconsider the way they approach those markets.
Because it's all about understanding the culture and really understanding the unique dynamics, I guess, within them.
Especially with the dynamics. A great example will be a company called Gojek in Indonesia, which is like people on bikes, and they offer a service so you can get a haircut. You can get a hairdresser driven to you on a bike.
Wow.
At your home, because traffic is so tense, people don't want to get out of their houses necessarily. But this is a great application of a model that could work really well in that particular market. I don't think it could be translated successfully outside. And we wouldn't think of it in the Western world. Like that wouldn't even occur to us to let me just like give a ride to a hairdresser to a place. You know,
Right.
It's counterintuitive.
I kind of like that idea, actually.
I think it's fantastic. I think it's great.
I'm curious then also what this means potentially for, do you think European and North American businesses, for example, are ready for what sounds to me is going to be an influx of more and more Asian, particularly Chinese travelers?
I think historically we've been ready. We in fact seek that opportunity. A lot of companies would have special offerings for Chinese consumers. Our parent caters to that demand quite a bit. Chinese travelers going abroad and where they stay and how they do. You'll notice that in a lot of the European hotels, for example, you already have speakers of Chinese who can help, and Japanese as well. So we'll see a lot more people from Asia traveling to Europe and to the United States. Historically, it's been between Europe and the United States, and you have the typical kind of like experience. Language barrier is a little bit lower, but now we see more and more the traffic has changed from Asia coming to Europe and the US.
So let's shift for just a moment our conversation. We had spoken a couple of months ago related to the topic of voice and some of what Skyscanner has been doing in the world of voice interfaces. So talk to me a little bit about that. You were one of the first to create some voice interactions. What are you learning there? What are some of the capabilities and limitations?
So the capabilities of having that input, saying basically, hey, find me a flight from A to B on that particular date, it saves the time of how people interact with a specific product. So the learning is that you can minimize the time of input quite a bit. What we've also learned is that reading back the results with voice, which is the output, it's really hard for anyone to understand. I mean, even for myself, like if I have a list of 20 different flights, it's hard for me to juggle that information in my head. So where we're coming to is, it's a great way to do input. So it saves me time. Hey, by the way, what is the time? Like, is my flight on time? Can you change my seat on a plane? This is great if we can get it right, but the output should be very much visual. I think that's also posted by Amazon by creating the Amazon, like the Echo Show, which gives you the information back and you can be interacting with it in a different way. So that's a good learning, but it's hard because the number of different ways you can go through this entire experience, and there is a high likelihood for you to get it wrong, meaning you can end up with the device not saying anything back to you. So you need to think about that interaction overall. Fantastic progress in that area though. I mean, Google revealed just last week their Google Duplex solution where your personal assistant can make a call to a human being and reserve a restaurant for you, and it's very natural. It is really natural, but it's also scary a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, I assume we're seeing, as you mentioned, kind of this rapid acceleration in the pace of development. So maybe we talk next year or the year after, it's going to be exponentially improved then.
It's probably already old news. I mean, it's voices, like it was great. Like a couple of years ago, everyone was like, this is all about voice, and now we're moving into a different direction. So it is a good method. I think over time it will be adopted a lot more.
Now, what about, give me your opinion on this. My sense is that right now it's primarily a great tool for research, maybe inspiration, that sort of thing, but then translating into booking is a big, maybe still a leap.
Absolutely. I think voice could be used today potentially as a utility function. So let me qualify that. Is my flight on time? Should I take a taxi? Can you change my seat after the transaction has happened? I think for the booking experience, as you said, and I would agree, it's still probably not there. The commitment you will make through a voice, let me buy this, and you feel confident enough that this is the right purchase decision, it's still probably not there. But there are elements that you can use to help with the experience of travel, which are really, really well fitted for voice at the moment.
And yet the mobile payments piece is very much here, correct? Especially in Asia, where everything's mobile. Then getting us back to the Asia topic. So maybe not a voice booking, but simply on mobile.
Mobile is already happening, so sure. Voice tying your payments method to voice is already part of the Alexa experience. Yeah, ultimately you need payments to work, but I would say that payments is just a small part of the voice interaction. You need payments to complete a transaction, but voice is a lot more than payments. Like you can change the card, like use my Visa instead of my American Express, whatever the case is. You can command that with voice, but we need to get better at understanding how to apply it in a natural way.
And I know you had referenced this a bit before. It is a unique situation then with Meta as far as providing that comparison piece within the voice context, or
yeah, so with Meta, historically we've been a comparison kind of like niche in the industry. So people come to us, they save time, they don't have to go to 100 different places. But then again, because of the Meta model, which has functioned as a media company, so you click out, you go on somebody else's site, the experience is entirely different. You can all control that post-click experience in a way, which means that unless you have a centralized way to complete the booking, you count on your partner to also synchronize with you. And they should also develop voice. And that becomes the chances of you getting it wrong throughout this journey, like a site coming to us or somebody directly comes to us, then going to another site and tying it all together through voice, that will be incredibly hard. So we'll probably need to figure out a way that we can enable it. One good initiative that we started is direct booking, which is basically our interface, but the partner on the back end. So we can enable that kind of transaction with our direct booking partners because we know how to do it. With the rest, it will probably be hard to tie it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much. Maybe not 60 questions, but
we got to about 30.
We got
so
to a
it's
lot.
good.
All right. Thank you very much for your time,
you.
Philip, and thank you so much for watching.